Welcome to Down Earth Astrology and Primal Girl Wellness. This is Ms. Jenny, and I am your astrologer. And my friends, it would seem that it must be that time again to discuss Meghan Markle and Prince Harry for a hot second. So, friends, if you remember, a couple months ago, we devoted an entire video to the asteroid that symbolizes hubris, or in other words, arrogance, extreme arrogance, in a birth chart. And we made use of Harry, Meghan, and their marriage chart to see where the asteroid is presenting itself in their lives and personalities. Because, there's nothing better than a living example. Now, it's very active and dynamic in their chart. And one of the interesting things that came up, of course, is the asteroid Damocles. And Damocles comes from the mythological story about the man in the royal court who was very envious of the king because he saw the king eating all of this really good food and surrounded by music and wine and beautiful women and fine clothes and living in the lap of luxury. And he was convinced that the king couldn't possibly have a care in the world. And the king, upon hearing about this, offered the man the opportunity to sit in his throne for a day, to live his life for a day, if you wanted. And of course, the man was like, oh my God, absolutely. So the man took the throne and was king for the day. And as the day was progressing and he was enjoying it, like, oh my God, this is the life. What on earth could this man be unhappy about? He looked up and noticed that there was a sword hanging over his head by a very thin horsehair. And at any moment, that thin hair that the sword was dangling over his head with could break at any moment. Now, of course, he tried to get up out of the throne, and people are like, oh, no. The agreement was you would stay here and be king for a day. And as king, you have to stay in your seat at your throne. So, of course, now the man, realizing what was threatening his life, hanging over his head by a bare, thin thread of hair, somehow things weren't quite so fun or luxurious or anything at that point, because he couldn't enjoy anything, because all he could think about now was the danger over his head. At the end of the day, when evening found, it was finally time for him to change places with the king. The king asked him how he enjoyed his day, and the man was like, "Of course, this was horrible, horrible. I don't ever want to have to do your job, because all I could think about was this threat, hanging over my head. Why did you put that there?" And the king explained that sword over his head represented the threat that the king feels every moment he's alive, because there's always someone or something threatening to end his life, to take him out of that throne. So all the luxuries and privileges and things that go with his position are not necessarily as easy or wonderful or enjoyable even as they seem to be when you have something like that hanging overhead. So that is the experience of the asteroid Damocles when it's active in your chart or prominently placed. And interestingly enough, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have the sword of Damocles, the asteroid Damocles, hanging over the house of partnership and marriage in their marriage chart. And lo and behold, as we said previously in that video in the comment section, in February 2023, Saturn in Aquarius will cross the asteroid Damocles, and this applies to everybody. But for them, it will be on the 7th house cusp of the marriage chart for these two. And this could be the end of the marriage or a final severance from them and everyone else they know and were close to before now. And then, of course, in the last couple of days, lo and behold, this is what we have. In the time it took to write these comments, and the little bit of time that's passed, the universe has delivered right on time with a South Park episode titled The Worldwide Privacy Tour. This is season 26, episode 2 of South Park. And for those of you who don't know, South Park is a cartoon show on Comedy Central, and they created this entire episode devoted to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's, well, outstanding behavior as a couple. This particular episode, titled The Worldwide Privacy Tour, has blown up on the internet and is as scathing as it is laughable in performance. Now, understand that there was no way we could have foreseen how the asteroid Damocles was going to be activated in the marriage chart for Harry and Meghan, but we knew that it would be, and it would be happening right now. We also know that their marriage and social contacts would come under the ultimate stress test that could end it all, because that is the nature of Damocles. And here's a screenshot of what it looks like on the internet if you type that in. And boy, the internet and everyone from all four corners of the planet are having a field day with this. So, this episode will certainly have become the sword of Damocles that threatens any false sense of security that they had in their social status before this episode came out. And astrologically speaking, before Damocles was activated by Saturn. Now, remember, Saturn is the measure of your performance. It is your scorecard, your report card, your grade, right? Your grading system. It is the penalty or reward that you get for whatever it is that you've invested up until this point. So Saturn gives you things to grow with, right? So it either tells you you've done a good job, or it gives you things to remind you that you really need to work on this right now. And Saturn crossing that Damocles across that seventh house of theirs has certainly brought some really hard lessons home to roost. That, because it is the nature of Saturn, will take time to get out from underneath. This will not go away immediately. So I just wanted to say here that I think one of the most amazing things about astrology is not that it can predict the future, because honestly, like, we can see trends and patterns, but who on earth could have ever seen this? You would have to have been a psychic to be able to see that it would be a cartoon um, basically mimicking everything that they've done on their own. Like, there's nothing new added in here. That's basically all stuff that they've actually done that would bring down their house of cards, in this time period. So we knew something was coming. We just didn't know how it was going to present. And the beauty of astrology is not that we can predict that something's coming to pass, but that it can warn us of some evolutionary lessons that are coming up. And the best part is when we see how the universe will surprise us every single time with the vehicle that it chooses to deliver the lesson in. So it would be nice to know everything all at once ahead of time, but we don't often get that. And honestly, as an observer, as opposed to the recipient of the planetary transit, as an observer, it is always amazing to see what mystery gifts will be revealed when the planetary transit is activated. South Park, who knew? Who knew? Could never seen this coming. So we're just going to make this super, super quick. And I just want to remind you guys, before you laugh too hard at these two, remember, Icarus and Damocles are in your chart somewhere too. So, my friends, what do the asteroids Icarus, the asteroid of hubris or extreme arrogance, and Damocles, the sword hanging by a thread over your head, what are they doing in your chart? All right, this has been Miss Jenny. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch up with you soon. Bye.